Good morning, sports fans, bettors, and cappers, and welcome to the 150th episode of the Competitive Hedge podcast. I am your host of the show, Kenneth, and thank you all for joining me on this special episode. And a little bit later in the day as well, took the day off work in order to do this show a little bit later on in the day. But this podcast is all about sports and the world of betting. We talk about results from yesterday's games and wagers as much as we don't want to, given how we did yesterday. But we're also going to dive into today's betting slate, cap things off with our daily betting card, and we're going to quickly give you our NFL picks for this weekend as well. But this episode is sponsored by Bet99, which is a Canadian sportsbook and casino that offers in-play betting, player props, a cash-out option, and many more great products. There are a variety of sports available on the website to bet on, including NHL, NBA, NFL, and EPL. The Bet99 works smoothly on both desktop and mobile, and their mobile app can be downloaded from the website's homepage. Depositing and withdrawing funds is hassle-free with a number of well-known methods available to use, so you know your money is safe and secure. The website can be viewed in both English and French, and customer service is available 24/7 with their live chat option. So go to bet99.com today to make an account. Use code SHOOTERSON at sign up. And please gamble responsibly. You must be 19 plus years of age to do so. It is available to persons in Ontario only. But most importantly, if you have questions or concerns about your gambling or the gambling of someone close to you, contact Connex Ontario 1-866-531-2600. We also have in the ticker below the number for Saskatchewan as well. So that's the most important thing. Have fun gambling, but don't let it control your life. Now, as I said, it is our 150th episode of the show today. We're incredibly thankful for all of the support. We started this venture just over 9 months ago and really excited with what we've seen over that time. And unfortunately, we're heading into our 150th episode with one of our worst days that we've had as far as these plays go. But Chelsea money line didn't hit yesterday. That'll happen when someone takes a stupid red card in their debut. I wasn't sure if Felix was going to debut. He looked great, and then he goes and takes a red. So they lose 2-1 outright. Minnesota and the Islanders, 3-1 was the final there. We were on the over 5.5 yesterday. Coyotes money line, they stretched that losing streak to 7 games as they lost 5-3 to Ottawa. And Gonzaga, they just edged out BYU. We had them on the -6, but a couple of winners to look forward to. The Vegas Golden Knights money line, they beat the Panthers, and then Troy Trojans -2.5 versus the Georgia State Panthers. Now, before we get into today's wagers, we also got to talk about Derek Carr, who bid farewell to the Raiders yesterday. And while I believe that Vegas had issues that expand beyond what Derek Carr did, this doesn't solely fall on him as to why they have a poor record. But that being said, he won 0 playoff games with Vegas and Oakland over his stretch. He played 143 games for the franchise. And so if you're throwing for over 35,000 yards with a team, yet you have 0 playoff wins to show for it, I don't think that Raider fans should necessarily be that upset. Now, we have to wait and see where they're going to go on the quarterback front. But for a franchise that has such an illustrious history, that's had a ton of playoff success, and let's face it, he didn't get it done for this team. I still believe Derek's going to be a starter in this league. Really praying that he goes to the Colts, because I know some people who are not a big fan of Derek Carr that's a part of Colts Nation, not to drop any names or anything, but perhaps a perfect situation. If he could find himself in, then maybe he'll find some playoff success and maybe some longevity in the league. But as of now, it's tough to see him go. He poured his heart out for that franchise. Seems like a great guy, just unfortunately was unable to get it done long-term for that team. We'll see what happens with Devontae Adams as well. That's the other part of it. He went there from the Packers to play with Derek, and now it looks like he's not going to be there. So who are they going to bring in to keep Devontae happy? Now, let's head over to the daily game slate. We're going to be diving into the betting plays for today. But before we do, let's play the video. All right, we've got a lot to get to, starting with that EPL game that's happening today. Shout out to Chris LeBron in the comments for the 150 comment. But Let's start with this EPL slate. Aston Villa, they're plus 100 today, taking on Leeds United, who are plus 275. Now, Villa, they've taken points from 4 of their last 5 games. Leeds have taken points from 3 of their last 5. So it is really tough to judge this one. I do kind of lean Villa money line if I'm going anywhere today, with them being at home. That being said, the one game where they didn't take points was because we bet them. Emery let us down on that occasion, but one that I will look at as well is the both teams to score at the minus 140. Villa have scored in 7 straight games, and Leeds have scored in, I believe, 4 of their last 5 as well. So it's a great value play if you're looking to bet some early afternoon EPL. Now, NBA wise, we got 9 games happening today. 4 of them we really like, but let's start with the ones that we don't. The Pelicans and Detroit. No Zion or Ingram for the Pelicans. That being said, they're 4.5 point favorites on the road taking on Detroit. I don't like the Pistons enough to ever back them, even at home. So that's a stay away game for me. Atlanta and Indiana. I kind of liked Indiana plus 3.5, but that line moved this morning all the way to minus 1.5. So it essentially makes it a pick 'em. I think Atlanta are the better team despite being on the road. So I don't really know where to go with that game. So I stayed away. Oklahoma City and Chicago. I love what I've seen from OKC on the road. They've put up a great fight, largely due to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, not Shy. And but on a back-to-back, it's a tough spot for them. I can't trust Chicago with that many points either. So at minus 4.5, I'm staying away. Denver and the Clippers. Jokic and a few others are game time decisions. So this is one to kind of monitor. If they do end up going, I do like Denver for the road upset. But as of now, it's essentially a pick 'em, even with all these game time decisions. And then Orlando and Utah. I refuse to back Utah by that much, given how well Orlando has done against the spread on the road recently. So I wanted to stay away because I'm still not going to go and back the Orlando Magic, especially not on our 150th episode. So let's talk about the games that I like. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I said it a week ago as well. I kind of like the Knicks tonight, minus 4.5 on the road. And it's really because the Knicks have been great, especially covering on the road this year. They're 14-6 against the spread. The under is also an intriguing play. They've gone under in 3 of the last 4 head-to-head with Washington. Not a lot to report on the injury front for the Knicks, but there's no Beal tonight. Looks like Porzingis is a game-time decision, as is Monte Morris. So with that being said, I think the Knicks at minus 4.5 is some great value. Golden State, they're minus 8.5, especially now that they have Steph Curry back. It looks like they are going to be fine moving forward. No Kuminga or Wiseman for the Warriors, and no Vassell for the Spurs, but it is a pretty crazy over-under total. We're looking at 245.5 on some books. Big shocker that Chris LeBron is also on the Knicks night. Who would have thought a Knicks fan would like that play? But minus 8.5, it's a gross road spread, even though the Spurs are tanking. And I see another guy in the comments who's a big Spurs fan. I'm sure that he would love to see Golden State win and cover this spread today. But I just think newly healthy Golden State at minus 8.5 is a little bit high, as is that over under total. So I'd definitely lean under 245.5. Phoenix and Minnesota, you got the T-Wolves are minus 4.5, and they haven't been great recently. They've only won 4 of their last 10. But that being said, Phoenix has only won 2 out of their last 10, so they're even worse. Minnesota's also won and covered in 3 of their last 4 home games, so they have been taking care of business at home at the very least. Phoenix has dominated the head-to-head, but you really can't look at head-to-head with this one, given that Booker has been available for all of those games. No Booker tonight, and so because of that, I love Ant-Man and company at home. I like the minus 4.5. Houston and Sacramento, the Kings are getting minus 10.5. It's hard to hear myself even say that they're getting that many points, but they've actually been really good. Sabonis and Fox could both be all-stars this year. At the very least, one of them will be. Houston have only won 1 of their last 10 games, and they've only covered in 3 of those games as well. So they're not only losing, but they're losing badly recently. So I would lean the Kings with the points, even though they haven't been great against the spread at home recently. But I just can't trust Houston today. It's not an official show play, but I would definitely lean Sacramento minus 10.5. If you do decide to go and parlay a piece, maybe buy a couple points, get it down to 7.5 to feel a little bit more comfortable backing the Kings. Now, when we're talking about NHL tonight, only 3 games are happening, and really there's only one worth playing tonight on the ice. I don't like New Jersey and Anaheim. I'm never going to play a minus 270 on the road, and I'm not going to go puck line on the road either. That being said, I'm also not going to sit there and go and bet on Anaheim. Even a plus 1.5 is really gross. So I just really don't like it. Walker Bailey had a great comment there as well, that the Spurs are in the Alamo Dome in front of 65K people. Very different dynamic for cappers, that's for sure. I do like Golden State a little bit, but not enough to go and bet maybe that spread. Might look at that over under total though. Edmonton and San Jose. Edmonton's minus 160 on the road. Again, another gross number. I don't want to bet them in regulation on the road because Edmonton hasn't been great recently. That being said, the Sharks are terrible. So it's honestly a pretty gross NHL slate today. Now, if you are going to go and bet a play on the ice, I think you got to look at this Winnipeg and Pittsburgh game. And this is another tough one to navigate. And it's because Winnipeg is on a back to back. They did beat Buffalo last night 4-2. Now they make the quick trip over to Pittsburgh, where they are favorites for this game. So the Jets have won 6 of their last 7 games. Pittsburgh's won 2 in a row and 8 of their last 10 head to head. So this is a tough one to navigate, but it looks like we're going to get Riddick, and we're also going to get Tokarski. I thought we were going to get DeSmith. It's projected now that we're getting Dustin Tokarski. Fun fact, I met Tokarski once in Prince Albert when I was working at a golf course there. The guy's an absolute dick, so I'm definitely backing Winnipeg today. 5 out of their last 6 went under, and I think that definitely favors Winnipeg having Riddick in net over Dustin Tokarski. Now, college basketball-wise, one ranked team playing today. I don't see a lot of value in this game, though. Nebraska versus number 3 Purdue. Purdue was minus 15.5 the last time I looked, so it's not one that I really love. But overall, I think that there is better value on the college basketball slate. Now, funny that you say this. We do have Do You Like Michigan State plus 6.5 today. That is, in fact, one of the plays that I have for today. I'll talk about that one in a couple minutes. Thoughts on the Villanova and Butler game? I don't know what to make of Villanova yet. I still think that they are struggling since Jay Wright has left. I don't think that they truly know what their team identity is. That being said, Butler is not good either. They may be 10-8 on the year. They've also lost 2 in a row. So I think if I'm going anywhere today, I would back Villanova just because of the program. I don't know if I love it enough to play it as an official play today. Kent State and Iowa is another one. This is one that I did look at this morning as a potential with Kent State minus 4.5 on the road. I think there is a ton of value to be had there. They're 13-3 on the year, and they are first in the MAC conference right now. So that's kind of where I would lean if I am going to play that Kent State and Ohio game. Walker also likes the Sharks tonight as his favorite NHL spot. You're a braver man than me. I backed Chelsea yesterday. You called me a brave man and it failed. I hope the Sharks works out for you tonight. So let's now look at our last call pick segment, which is where we give you our daily betting picks for the day. But before we do, let's play the video. Before we get into that, we do have one more comment that Chris LeBron also likes the Utah State line tonight. I kind of do as well. Nevada has been very solid in the Mountain West this year, though. So to me, this felt like a pick 'em. I would be backing Utah State because I like the program more. But that would be all that I would like to play in that game. But before we get into our last call pick segment, we got to talk about Last Mountain Distillery, which is a family-owned and operated company located in Lumsden, Saskatchewan, the heart of grain country. Saskatchewan's first micro distillery success lies in their commitment to producing high-quality, handcrafted spirits. Their craft distilling process brings out the full flavor of the grain and leaves a smooth finish unlike any other. Their holiday seasonal releases are still out now if you want to go get their famous cherry whiskey, chocolate hazelnut truffle liquor, or new local candy cane vodka. I love the regular vodka, love the root beer schnapps. Even the old fashioned is my personal favorite. It's what I enjoy on a weekend. Might enjoy a glass of that tonight, but definitely go check out Last Mountain Distillery. Great sponsors of the show. So with that, let's head over. We got 6 plays for you here today for episode 150. I think we need a clean sweep tonight. After 2-4 yesterday, I think it's time for the gambling gods to give us a little bit of hope here. So let's go with Aston Villa and Leeds, both teams to score at minus 140. This is a 2-unit play for us. Both teams averaging over a goal per game on the year. Recently, they have been taking most of their chances that they've been given. it's also a pretty big game for both sides. You've got 11th place and 14th place in the table. Both would like to pick up some points and truly separate themselves from the bottom of the Premier League. And so I like Emery at home, but I also think Leeds are a scrappy bunch that are going to go and get a goal. I definitely think we get 1-1 for sure. Could be 2-1 in favor of Aston Villa at the end of the day, or 3-1, but I like both teams to score regardless. I'm also going with the Knicks -4.5 versus the Wizards. Again, the Knicks are absolute road demons this year, covering in 14 of 20 games. Washington are also below 500 at covering at home. No Beal. Looks like could be no Porzingis either. And also New York have won 3 of their last 4 in Washington. So they know how to go in and win in that building. So I like the -4.5 today. I'm going to bet the under in that Spurs and Warriors game. To me, that's just a ton of points. The teams combined on the year are averaging 229 per game. I have faith that we could see Golden State drop over 120 points, maybe even get to 130. I just question how much offense the Spurs are going to have tonight against this good Golden State team. So I'm taking the under at 245.5, banking on the fact that at least one of these teams comes out a little bit flat. Then Winnipeg Jets +1.5 versus Pittsburgh at -150. Glad we got this before Tokarski got announced. In fact, if you want to go and bet the Jets money line now, I feel very comfortable with it, even with them on a back-to-back. They've won 6 of their last 10. Pittsburgh's only won 3 of their last 10. And the Penguins, they've won the majority of games head-to-head, but that's when we've seen Casey DeSmith in net or any other goalie that they've rolled out there. I just prefer the Jets goaltending situation today. Riddick over Tokarski all day long. And so I'm going to take them to lose by 1 at worst at -150. But definitely go and bet the money line if you want to get a little bit spicier with your play. Then the Iona Gales, they're -14.5 versus the Fairfield Stags at -110, and this is a 1-unit play. Iona, they're 10-6 against the spread this year. They're also 5-0 at home covering this year. Fairfield, they're just 2-3 against the spread on the road, and they're averaging 11 less points per game. Iona's also won 8 of the last 10 head-to-head, and not only that, they've covered 7 of those wins. So yes, it's a steep number. I don't love getting into the double digits like this, but I think that Iona is going to take care of business at home today. And then our last play is Michigan State +6.5 versus the Illinois Fighting Illini at -110 for 1 unit. Both teams are fairly even against the spread this year. Illinois have covered 2/3 of their games at home. But what I have found is while Michigan State has won 6 of 10 head-to-head, they also have not lost to Illinois on the road by more than 5 points in their last 5, taking the trip there. So I think even if Michigan State loses, this is a tight game. Could be 2 to 3 points overall, if not winning outright. We backed the Spartans midweek, and they were able to win outright. We're going to back them to cover again today. And with that, we're also going to head over now. We're going to give you our quick 1-minute play of the 6 NFL games this weekend for the playoffs. And so these are the bets that we're making on the NFL playoff slate. Seattle +9.5 versus San Francisco. The Seahawks will keep it within double digits against who I consider to be the best team in the NFC. The Chargers -2.5 versus Jacksonville today. I think the Jags are still 1 year away. I know there's no Mike Williams, but I believe in the Chargers to get a win here and a win by a field goal or more. I'm going to back the Bills -13.5 versus Miami. I hate taking a double-digit spread in the NFL, but Skylar Thompson, it looks like, is going, even if it's Teddy. I think they might not score 14 points, and Buffalo could hang 30. Vikings -2.5 versus the Giants. Everyone's on the Giants. I'm going to fade the public and hoping that Kirk edges them out at home. I'll take Cincinnati -9.5 versus Baltimore. No Lamar, no chance. Hottest team in the AFC wins by double digits. And to cap it off, Dallas money line versus Tampa Bay at -125. I've been saying all week they're not going to win. And so against my better judgment, I'm going to take Dallas to get it done against Tom. But appreciate everyone who tuned into our 150th episode of the show. We're going to continue to grow, continue to try and put out great plays for you guys. Let's get a clean sweep today, clean sweep over the weekend, and we'll see you guys on Monday for the Competitive Hedge podcast.